Hello, hello all. I hope you're well, and welcome to this week's podcast episode. And this is a little bit of a continuation of the What Makes This Idol Appealing series that I have going on. I've already made, I think, 2 videos or 1 long video based on the appeal of Johnny Suh, and I highly recommend you go check it out if you want to know more. But I wanted to dive a little bit more into Johnny's attendance at the Met Gala, what it means in terms of the industry, in terms of Johnny himself, and kind of just explaining little things that I noticed about his attendance in the Met Gala, which just kind of sum him up and add to the appeal of him or help explain the little things that he does that makes him appealing. And of course, I'm sure as we're all K-pop fans listening to this podcast, we're all very excited to see a K-pop idol attend anything that's outside of the norm. Let's get on with discussing the appeal of Johnny Suh and the Met Gala. I'll be discussing a few other idols, but let's get into it. In May, Johnny posted on his Instagram story that he'd be flying somewhere. Initially, we thought it was that SM were allowing him to go home and see his family since he's from Chicago, and it's been probably quite a few years since he's seen his parents. So we all kind of assumed that he would be going home and seeing the family. But SM being SM, this was not the case. Johnny was being sent on official business to New York. And the reason why I say SM being SM is that recently Yuta got to go home to Japan, and we also thought that that was for a holiday, but it ended up being that Yuta's going to be in an up-and-coming Japanese movie. I can't remember the title right now, but I'm sure you've seen it. Yuta's going to be starring in a film. So SM doesn't believe in holidays, and that's why I say, mark my words, Lucas has not been sat around doing nothing. That man has definitely been made to work and is probably currently prepping for a wavy comeback as we speak. So just know SM doesn't give their employees a day off. But yes, back to Johnny. Once again, speculation led us to believe that Johnny would be doing something on SM's behalf in terms of NCT. We knew Johnny was going to New York, maybe be a spokesperson or give a speech, just like Suho has or will be doing in, I believe, Stanford University. He's going to be giving a talk, which is very awesome for our leader, Suho, Kim Junmyeon. So yes, that was an idea that was floating around, or perhaps Johnny was going to New York to do something in terms of NCT Hollywood, that thing that SM either will be or won't be doing. I think we're all quite confused about this show or competition program that's supposed to be happening, so people thought perhaps Johnny was involved in that in some way. But no, suspicion then grew towards an upcoming event occurring in New York that Johnny was being very secretive about until a fan said to him on the street while recording him, "Have fun at the Met." And then Johnny responded with a "thanks." So the internet went wild, it was confirmed, and citizens went a bit crazy. Johnny Suh was going to the Met Gala. Now, I do want to make it clear, as I, being a huge EXO-L, had also forgotten that EXO's Lay had attended the Met Gala before, and even Siwon from Super Junior. I was looking into it, and actually, in terms of the Met Gala, you can get in 2 ways. You can get in through invitation, or by your company paying or sponsoring for you to go. And that's why I think it's been single members from groups who have gone to the Met rather than a whole group, because this is just speculation, but I'm guessing that SM probably sponsored Johnny to go, just as they probably did for Lay and Siwon before, which is fine. I bet you lots of people and their companies have paid to get in. It's not a problem. I think that's why I'm saying it adds to the reason as to why Johnny was picked to go, because we didn't see the whole of NCT go. It was just Johnny. I do think, however, though, bringing BTS into it, because so many people were discussing why didn't BTS go or get invited. I'm so sure that BTS were invited, but they had a Las Vegas show going on around the same time, and Las Vegas is literally on the other side of America, so it would be too taxing for BTS to perform in Las Vegas and then fly over to the Met and then fly back to Las Vegas. So I'm guessing they will go probably next time. That's what I'm thinking, but I'll get more into that in a bit because I don't want to detract from Johnny at all. It's amazing that Johnny got to go to the Met Gala, and it's amazing that SM chose him to go and represent NCT and the company. But I wanted to talk about the reasons for this. Why was he picked? Well, Johnny is American, he speaks English fluently, and so he could conduct interviews that would be occurring. And yes, he was interviewed. You can check out some of his interviews online if you want. So it would be less of a struggle compared to the other Korean members if they went and got interviewed. So I'm sure that's a big reason why SM picked Johnny. And I know what you're going to say, why not Mark? Mark is Canadian, he knows English. The thing is, Johnny is tall. So Johnny being tall and having this kind of model-like stature means that he's a great person to choose to go to a fashion event, because having a designer, Peter Do was the designer, he's a Vietnamese designer, would probably want someone who was taller, longer to design an outfit for, so a tall member would be ideal. And so that makes sense why Johnny would be picked if we're deciding on Johnny, Mark, and I know Jaehyun knows, Jaehyun lived in America for 4 years, so Jaehyun knows English, but I think it's just Johnny seems more model-esque. He would suit probably the designer's vision the best. But I will discuss Jaehyun in a bit, so don't worry, I'll mention him later. But yeah, so it makes utter sense why Johnny was picked to go, and good on him. I mean, of course, he's very handsome and etc. So it's just like another reason why he'd be a great member to go. And I just want to say here that Johnny honestly did the absolute best that he could with the opportunity that was given to him. As all NCT members do, whenever they're representing their group, I think NCT members do such a good job with whatever task they're given. I just wanted to put that out there. Speaking of representing, Johnny wore both a ring from one of the NCT Dream members, their infamous friendship Tiffany ring. You can Google it if you want to see what it looks like. It's a very nice ring. And he also wore Doyoung and Taeyoung's BFF rings. I really wonder which member gave it to him to wear. Did Doyoung give Johnny his ring or did Taeyoung? Who knows? But I just thought that was really sweet. So he wore the Doyoung Taeyoung ring and he wore one of the NCT Dream members' rings. I have a feeling that Mark gave him his to wear. I'm just guessing. What I wanted to say about this is that Johnny obviously didn't have to wear these rings to this event. So the fact that he did simply warms the cockles of my heart and every seasonie's heart, I'm sure. While in New York, of course, Johnny filmed some episodes for Johnny's Communication Center, no doubt, and I'm sure we'll be getting a BTS episode of Johnny's attendance at the Met, which I can't wait to watch. I'm sure it'll be really interesting. And I'm sure the episode's basically going to show his humbleness and willingness to do whatever the designer wanted him to do or wear. Another great reason for why Johnny was a great pick for the Met is because of his personality. Even watching him that night, he was as cool as a cucumber and did not seem nervous, shy, or embarrassed by being around such big-name celebs, whether that was on the red carpet or during the gala itself. He wasn't intimidated by the celebs and even spoke to Khloe Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Anderson .Paak, etc., etc., you get my point, like it was nothing. And that's what's always been so great about Johnny, his inability to feel nerves or to at least show them. They don't hinder his social skills, and he seemed so happy, calm, and positive, and at ease, which of course made these celebs speak to him normally as well, and not disregard him. He felt like he'd attended the Met Gala every year prior, the way he was walking around. So cool, calm, and collected, and walking around comfortably and confidently. You could tell he enjoyed it, and in interviews later, he'd even said that he would remember every detail for the rest of his life, which makes it wonderful, knowing that he really loved and appreciated being able to go. I think that's really great. And he mentions how grateful he was to be able to go in his Vogue interview. I think he did Teen Vogue and he did a few other papers. And of note, he attended the Met with the designer, Peter Do, which he never ignored during his photo ops on the carpet, just outside the hotel, even inside the hotel when being filmed and pictures were being taken of Johnny. He stood next to Peter and kind of signaled to him, like, do you want me to step over so you can film Peter, take more pictures of Peter? He wasn't hogging the spotlight and he had no problem sharing it with this designer, which I think shows respect, and it shows Johnny respects other people and, you know, respects the people around him and doesn't need to be the center of attention. He has no problem sharing the limelight or the spotlight. He didn't make it awkward or a big thing, and he didn't throw a hissy fit if people wanted to take pictures of the designer and not him. He actually didn't throw a hissy fit throughout the whole gala. I mean, I was here trying to find more people talking about him in YouTube videos, etc. People reviewing the Met Gala, and I was getting agitated that people weren't bringing him up in his outfit, whereas Johnny's the type of guy that just doesn't care because he had a good time. He had a whale of a time. That's all that matters to him. I don't think he needs people talking about him left, right, and center in order to feel good. He validates himself. He feels validation from within, which I think is just very inspiring. It meant something to him, and that night made him happy, and you could tell he felt like $1,000,000, and that's all that matters to him. That level of confidence and self-validation to have is amazing. And I know that I've attributed it previously to his parents, and I'll say it again, like I think especially Mama Sa really created this sort of self-validating confidence in Johnny, which once again could have been toxic, could have been very arrogant, but is not, because as I've mentioned previously, Johnny doesn't need to steal the limelight from people. He doesn't mind sharing the limelight, the attention, and he is so positive about the people around him and encouraging. So wonderful traits. And I think we all kind of aspire to be as confident as Johnny. And even checking out the BTS footage with the designer and even the footage of him during his try-on sessions, Johnny seemed incredibly compliant, easygoing, and open to whatever ideas were being suggested for the outfit. He was being totally laid back and not uninterested, but simply confident, positive, and happy enough to totally trust the designer and his ideas and direction, even if it meant that Johnny would have to be shirtless or topless for the outfit. I mean, obviously, we know Johnny's not uncomfortable with showing skin, but the designer wanted it, and so the designer got it. And Johnny did not complain. He was just happy to be there, which I think is wonderful, and he clearly loved the outfit. So kudos to the designer, and kudos to Johnny for not being a diva about any of it. Additionally, Johnny attended the gala with Eva Chen, to whom designer Peter Do also made an outfit for. So once Johnny heard or knew that he would be attending the gala with her, he went out and bought her book, I Am Golden, which is a children's book. It's a book about the immigrant experience, as well as a manifesto of self-love for Chinese American children. So you can see why Johnny, a Korean American but with a similar experience, said to her, to Eva Chen, he brought her book to her because he wanted her to sign it. He was really excited to meet her. He bought this book and asked her to sign it in the same room that they were like getting ready in or taking pictures in. And what he said to her was that it felt like a letter to him from his parents, which one shows that he actually read the book, and two, just shows you it's such an insightful thing to say. It's such a loaded and emotional, powerful comment. Even Eva herself was really touched by Johnny's words while she was signing the book for him. And I just want to say once again, it just adds to the respect that Johnny shows other people. He respected and admired this woman's work, and so got her book and asked her to sign it, showing that he cares and knows about what she does. So I just thought that that was just another thing to add to his list of positive traits. But I also just like what he said about the book, and I think there is something there to unpack about Johnny and his past. You know, he is a son of immigrants, and it's just interesting to think about kind of the struggles that he's gone through as an Asian American and that shared experience with other Asian Americans like Eva Chen, for example. So it just kind of adds to the layer of him. It humanizes him and it makes you think about the kind of life that Johnny's gone through. So it's nice that that book kind of spoke to him. I really want to mention this point as well, which really struck me. Throughout the whole debacle, from the hotel he got ready at, to the car he got in and rode in, and all the way to the Met, and until he got to that building, Johnny always acknowledged his fans. He seemed slightly in awe or shock by the sheer number of fans who recognized him and screamed his name throughout the journey to the Met, you know, from the hotel all the way to the building. And I want to acknowledge his acknowledgement of the fans, because he absolutely could have ignored them. Who knows if these people all lived in New York, on the other side of New York, if they flew in from other states or other countries to see him. It probably was an effort to come and see him, and they did. So it's really sweet that Johnny kind of did his part and made sure to smile, wave, and acknowledge the love being sent his way. And you can see it in lots of fan cams and recordings of Johnny that fans have uploaded from the event. You can kind of see his head bobbing up above the rest of the people he's with because he's so tall. And every time people are screaming for him or whatever, he's just waving at the fans who were far away, yelling his name. And, you know, it takes energy, it takes effort to smile and to acknowledge people and so on. But it seemed to come so easy to him. It didn't seem forced. He looked like he really appreciated the love. And I just want to say that it's lovely that Johnny's not ashamed of who he is or where he's from, because he could have been embarrassed. He could have been embarrassed that K-pop fans were shouting his name. He could have been embarrassed that he was like the only K-pop idol there. Even BTS to this day still get mocked for and racially ridiculed for being a boy group, you know? So I just think that that's wonderful that he acknowledged the fans, and it was just nice to see. I thought that that was wonderful. And I just wanted to mention, in one of Johnny's Teen Vogue interviews, he was asked if the other members were excited for him, and he said yes. Of course they are, you know, of course they were. They're all very proud and excited for him. And he said that one of the members back home said, "Dude, you've got to tell me everything as soon as you get back." I love it because the comments underneath that were all like, well, clearly that was Mark, because Mark's the only one that says dude. So Mark was definitely excited for Johnny, and I'm sure Johnny's told him everything that occurred, things we saw and did not see from that night. But I think it just once again stresses how it's such a big deal for him, and it's really nice that the other members were so excited and supportive. It's just interesting that the words that Johnny uses is very excited, but he's just such a chill and cool as a cucumber guy that he expresses his excitement in such a different way. I just thought that that was interesting. And yes, thanks to the fans' efforts, everyone's efforts, I'm putting myself in this box as well, Johnny ended up being the most talked about man on social media who attended the Met Gala. I mean, he beat out people like Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Mendes, so that's amazing. But I am kind of sad that after checking out videos and reviews of the Met, as I mentioned previously, most of the people that reviewed the Met didn't really mention Johnny at all. Like, I didn't see Johnny get mentioned, and instead people like Shawn Mendes and Ryan Reynolds were discussed. I'm happy that the K-pop fandom came together to cheer on Johnny, except for people who complained about BTS not going the moment they saw Johnny there. To be honest, I'm on the fence of I want more idols to attend, as I want more K-pop representation in everything, so the more groups, the merrier. And I do hope that Johnny's attendance has not just boosted K-pop, but Korea and NCT's rep in general. And I also want Johnny to get more work from SM after this. I honestly think he did so well. He did the best he could have done. He spoke to as many celebrities as he could, got taken pictures with them, cool as a cucumber, schmoozing. For goodness sake, he spoke to Kris Jenner like it was nothing, and Khloe Kardashian like it was nothing as well, which is amazing. You know, I don't want to make it seem like celebs celebs are better than regular people in that regard. But what I'm trying to say is, I know that I'd be starstruck talking to any of these people because I'm just so used to seeing them on my screen, you know? It's kind of the same for Johnny. He hasn't seen these people in real life, so that's pretty cool. I really hope that SM give him more things to do in the future because I think he deserves it. I think he's shown that he can do things alone. I think he's shown that he can remain cool, calm and collected in kind of these stressful sort of situations. He schmoozed, he acknowledged the fans, he modelled his clothes amazingly, might we say, and he didn't make a scene or offend anyone. I mean, he didn't offend anyone, but I don't know if you guys saw that some silly photographer made a racist comment about Johnny outside the hotel. He said something along the lines of, he can't understand me, which, you know, is just so ignorant, and I don't want to bring the mood down, but what I'm trying to say is basically, yeah, maybe people offended him, but he didn't offend anyone. And being the most talked about man on social media that night, you know, it's just ticks all around. I really think that, I mean, I've been saying this for a while, but I really think that Johnny suits the American culture and vibes. I know that he is American, but what I'm trying to say is he fits in with the culture, you know, he fits in with the vibes. I think his sense of humor and his charisma is very American, and he's funny, he's confident, he's quick-witted, and I do wish that he would get more than just Johnny's communication center. I'd love if he did more things in America. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think he'd be a great NCT K-pop representative in America, and I wish that SM would somehow create a way for him to do that. I don't know, I'm still kind of brainstorming and thinking about it myself, but I'm sure there's ways for Johnny to work in America and, you know, still be part of NCT, but I feel like it's like an advantage that SM have with Johnny, and I think that they should use him for that, to push NCT forward, to push SM forward, K-pop forward. I feel like Johnny could do it. Kind of just like the way I think Yuta should go off to promote NCT in Japan, which is kind of what he's doing with his new movie that he's going to be in. You know, that's kind of more solo activities and spreading the word. I think Johnny brings a fresh aura. And let's remember that he did this all alone. He literally attended the Met alone without his other members, and he didn't once look or seem scared. It was literally his first time doing something like that, and I think he did it fantastically. Let's see what he gets to do after this. So what's next? Will Johnny attend the Met again? Who knows? Maybe next time SM will send him and Jaehyun, since Jaehyun knows a good deal of English too. I said I was going to mention Jaehyun and I did again. I think Jaehyun would be someone else that could go to the Met since, you know, I think he's a Prada ambassador. So Jaehyun could literally get a Prada suit made for him and attend the Met, either with Johnny or maybe just Jaehyun would go. I'm not quite sure. I do think, as I said previously, I do think BTS will go next year. Or if Jin does go to the military, maybe it wouldn't be all the members. Maybe it would just be like V, maybe Jimin, you know, something like that. I asked other people who they think would or should go to the Met, and someone mentioned Jackson Wang. I'm actually shocked that Jackson hasn't gone to the Met, to be honest. I think Jackson definitely should go. I think he'd definitely dress up, especially with GOT7's comeback coming soon. I think it's this month. If Team Wang managed to get him in there. Of course, Jackson has an advantage. He knows English. He does interviews really well. Recently, he was on the Kelly Clarkson show. So I'd love to see it. Personally, I'm actually quite shocked that G-Dragon hasn't gone. I'm so surprised, like, he's a huge Chanel ambassador. Chanel should really get on that and send him to the Met, you know, make him a custom outfit. G-Dragon is not shy when it comes to dressing up and fashion, so he'd be great going. My personal wish would be to see anyone from EXO go. I think someone mentioned Kai, that he would look superb, but I think because of the military schedule, I don't think he can go next year, which is unfortunate. Another wish would be to see Stray Kids. I'd love to see that ragtag group at the Met, but I don't think they're there yet. I do think that BTS seem to be like the only group that would be invited, which, hopefully one day more people will get invites in K-pop. I actually wouldn't be surprised if next year a girl group or a member from a girl group goes. Obviously, I'm thinking of Blackpink. I'm actually quite surprised once again that Blackpink haven't been invited because they do so much modeling for big fashion brands. I think like Dior, Celine, Chanel, Prada, etc. I do think Jennie would go or Lisa. Those are my two picks. Actually, Rose. I'm so sorry if I've pronounced her name. I think it's Rose. Just send all of Blackpink. They'd wear amazing dresses for the Met. And if the Met Gala was smart and they wanted to, get even bigger in popularity, then they really should invite more Korean idols. I do know that it's a bit trendy to now have Korean idols or stars at your events now, thanks to things like BTS and Squid Game. But I think they should be invited regardless or nonetheless. But it would definitely add more buzz on social media and add some more diversity. I mean, if just Johnny, one guy from one group, got to be the most talked about man on social media, oh my goodness. Imagine sending or inviting more than just Johnny to the Met. Oh my goodness. Imagine the social media buzz. So I think the Met Gala should really get on that. And I think actually someone else that could go is Park Seo-joon. I think he's a big contender to go next year, as he's in an upcoming Marvel, is it series or movie? I think it's a movie called The Marvels. I can imagine that both Disney and his team would want him to go to expose him to the American market some more and prep him for the movie. Plus, he'd look great in a suit. But yeah, if Johnny could go to the Met Gala again, that would be great. I just wanted to highlight how his personality and his aesthetics simply suit the Met and how he did a great job. He seems like such an open-minded and calm guy, and I'm glad that SM picked him and believed in him to do this, and I think he nailed it. So yes, those are my thoughts. What do you think? Please leave a comment and stay tuned for my next podcast episode. Don't worry, I am working on my What Makes This Idol Appealing series. I'm always working on it. But thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.